and welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Marjorie Lowe and I'm your host today. We have an amazing show for you, but first, let's meet our panelists. With us is Mr. Bill Hirschman. He is an arts journalist and a founder of FloridaTheaterOnStage.com. We have Carol Cassie. She is a theatrical marketing specialist, and you can find her marketing website at carolcassie.com. And finally, Jim Buff. He is a set decorator, a costume and wig designer, and he can be seen performing all over the country as his alias known as Electra. And now I would like to introduce our very, very special guest. We are chatting today with Gary Cadwallader. Gary is the Director of Education and Community Engagement at Palm Beach Dramaworks. He is an actor, a director, an educator, and so much more, and he is a very good friend of mine. Welcome, Gary. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So we have a lot of very exciting projects to talk about, but first, tell us a little bit how you got into outreach and education. I know you're from Ohio. You're a child actor. You're an actor and director. What was your journey to South Florida and Palm Beach Dramaworks?
Oh, wow, that's long. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I've been a professional actor for over 40 years, and I went to graduate school, and they taught us how to teach. And so I was very lucky that as my career progressed, I was able to work at universities, and I was able to teach and work with young people. And I think the journey to education, connected with the art of acting and the art of theater was very important to me. And it's a great teaching tool for me as well. So my journey has always been of connecting acting and directing and teaching together. And so I moved down to Florida from New York in 1996, I believe it was, and worked at Seaside Music Theater for many, many years and Orlando Repertory Theater. And came down to Palm Beach Dramaworks 3 years ago to create the Education and Community Engagement Program at Palm Beach Dramaworks.
Fantastic, and you've done so much, but one of the very special projects we're going to talk about today is the Legacy Project. So tell everybody a little bit about what that is.
So the Legacy Project is a program that we created with Compass Community Center, which is the LGBTQ+ community center in Lake Worth, Florida. And we were working on a way to build a connection between the different generations, between their youth program, which is very extensive, and the elders and seniors who many have retired here to South Florida. And I pitched them an idea to do a digital storytelling project. And this is a project where the young people interview those people who have made a difference, who have blazed trails for the LGBTQ community over the last decades. And I said, why don't we have the young people interview the seniors and then tell their stories by creating a digital story, which is like a short film, about their lives. So they not only interviewed and learned about them, but then they are telling their story. And what we do live on stage at Palm Beach Dramaworks is then we take those digital stories, we put them live on stage, and then we have the young people on stage and we honor the elders in the audience in that evening. So they introduce them, and then we show the digital story on the screen.
So it's bridging the generational gap.
It's bridging the generation gap.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear, between the young generation and the older generation. They don't really know or feel confident talking to those different generations. So that's a way for us to bridge that gap between. And it's important for young people to learn about where their rights and their safety nets have come from. It's from people who have been out there in the community fighting for their rights. And to learn about those stories is important.
I'm curious, I never even realized that. Why would there be that discomfort in the generations talking to each other?
Well, it's interesting because young people, if they have grandparents, they're obviously very comfortable with their grandparents, but that generation, they have their different music and different likes and dislikes, and they don't really feel comfortable or confident with them. And then on the flip side, young people with their technology and their new vocabulary and their new language is very foreign to them. And so as part of the project, I do also have the elders ask the young people questions about their lives and to learn what they're thinking and what they're doing, and just so that we build an empathy and an understanding. And for the young people, it really is learning how to walk in someone else's shoes, which I think is very important.
That was a question I was going to bring up to you. I was going to say, how in teaching, how do we get the younger generation off their cell phones for a minute, you know, because I mean they can Google everything, so they don't need to. In our time, it was more like we cherished and we honored history, and we knew it. But nowadays, you can just look it up, you know, on a cell phone. So they don't. I don't feel that they have that sense of honor.
And this is
I
giving them
think this is
personal
wonderful what
stories.
you're doing, because it seems like you are instilling that into them, that there is a little bit of history there that maybe they should know and respect.
And it's got to be different when reading about it online or even reading in a book is one thing, to be sitting in the same room with someone who sits there and goes, you don't know how you got here. You don't know what things were like. Not, oh, little, I'll let me tell you all about it. But you don't know the sacrifices and the journey. And coming from somebody's mouth, I would think, would be different.
So you have these people on stage. Who is your audience and what's their reaction?
Well, and we debuted it this year for the first time last year in October for the first time. And the audience were really invited, people from Palm Beach Dramaworks and from Compass Community Center. So it was that community who came together. And the reaction was extraordinary, because there was a lot of work that was put into the digital stories, the cuttings of the interviews, photographs, the young people's voiceover, music, a music bed underneath it, and we really created this beautiful story. And so it was really extraordinary to see the honor, I think, that was given, and the respect that the young people had for those elders. And with that, they really created this extraordinary and beautiful project. There were a lot of tears, to put it.
I bet. It
mildly.
sounds really inspirational. But now that we've heard a little bit about the Legacy Project, we've got a little bit of a clip that we can take a look at. Here is a shortened version of the Legacy Project's interview with Ramsey McLeod, who was interviewed by Priscilla. Let's take a look.
Ramsey McLeod has been a strong and powerful advocate for the LGBTQ community for decades. When our community is called upon to fight for equality or to be heard, Ramsey is there making her voice heard.
Still to this day, I don't understand why people look at the skin tone of someone and make a judgment, how their physical features are presented to make a judgment about them. I just wasn't raised that way. A lot of people question that on me, and I'm like, I don't see all the packaging. My interest is in what comes out of that person's mouth to show me what is their core integrity, what is their character as a person.
Ramsey spent over 7 years in service to our country, but her time in the military, at first very positive, became a nightmare.
They were investigating me. I had to open my mail and read the mail from my family in front of them. When I got Christmas gifts and stuff, they kept all that. I had to open it in front of them. They stalked me morning, noon, and night. They sat me in front of my commander and asked very personal questions of a sexual nature.
I asked Ramsey if there were a time in her life when she triumphed over hatred or bigotry, and she talked about the LGBTQ community coming together and rallying during the AIDS crisis in the 1980s.
It took them 5 years to decide to give a name to this disease. But getting the help, everything was, I used to run from churches to get government food and deliver it to AIDS patients. Otherwise, nobody was doing anything for them, and we just lost so many fine young people.
I'm so happy and honored that I could sit down with you and have this meaningful conversation. I learned so much from you, and thank you for sharing your life story with me.
That is so powerful, even watching it here. It's really moving. Have you found that the youth and the mentors have kept in touch or kept in contact?
I don't know if they've kept in contact after this year. I know that they're invited to this year's Legacy Project, so hopefully they'll have a reunion.
Really
I was going to ask, this is in Palm Beach County. Now, have you tried to maybe have some dialogue with some Broward County and maybe some Miami-Dade County institutions to maybe further what you've done here, I think it would be wonderful for all of South Florida.
Well, I will tell you that the Stonewall Museum and and Community Center, whatever that's called here in Broward County, they came to the Legacy Project.
Okay.
So they did see it, and I think they are very interested. They also want to collect these digital stories to keep in their archives as well. But I know that Compass Community Center goes around the nation, and they're a part of a collection of LGBTQ community centers, and they are all been talking about it. They all want to institute it in their own.
Because I think it's a wonderful thing to reach out.
So you have so many projects, we can't even get to all of them, but there's another really wonderful one I want to talk to you about today. It's called the One Humanity Tour, and before we talk about it, we're going to take a little sneak peek. So let's watch this video as well.
To me, this play is about so many things, but it's about understanding. It's about, not judging a book by its cover. It's about really getting that there's so many different things going on in every situation. And even something that might seem black and white can be full of gray. I think the kids are getting every little piece of this one. I mean, it is shocking to me because even sometimes when, we think that they're quiet and they're not really responding during the show, during the talkback, they have so many, great observations that they have. They have so many interesting things that they noticed and picked up on, things that, I wouldn't even expect some adults to pick up on. Now that you can see that one event had 3 very unique points of view, we hope that with the power of empathy that we've given you here today, that you take that with you into your schools, into your homes, and into your communities, and understand that every single person out there has their own unique story to tell.
Another really moving project. It's so exciting. So tell me, how do you come up with the subjects and the topics for the scripts that you do?
Well, let me go back and say that Palm Beach Dramaworks, our motto is theater to think about. And when I talked to Bill and Sue Ellen about coming on board, we wanted to bring that down to the education and community engagement level as well. We wanted drama as a tool for social awareness and social justice. And so that's why we created this project. I was really, we have a problem in our country with the conflict between law enforcement and our communities. Mm-hmm. And when I talked to someone at the school district, they said, no one is talking to the kids about this. And that's when the light bulb went off over my head, and I said, well, then we need to use drama as a tool to bring awareness to empathy and understanding and have a dialogue about it. And that's why we created the One Humanity Tour. So the 6th grade touring project, which is now in its 3rd year, I know the video said has played to over 6,000 children. Well, as of Friday, we played to 19,000 children. Wow. So it's really grown. And it's a way for us to go into the school, put on a play for the entire 6th grade, and then have a conversation about empathy and responsibility and cause and effect and all those things that, what do you do if you run and a police officer tells you don't run or stop? So it's a multifaceted project and program. And we're expanding it this year. We won another beautiful grant from Impact 100 to create a touring project about human trafficking, teen human trafficking. The average age in Palm Beach County is 13 years old of sex-trafficked teenagers. And so we've created a project for the 7th grade, which is that average age, to take a play in there and to have a dialogue and a conversation and really talk about the warning signs and what to look for. And it's an extraordinary piece of theater, in my opinion, that Eric Coble created. And we want to use drama as a way to reach young people.
Yeah, it's interesting that 30, 40 years ago when regional theater was finally catching on. You didn't hear about a lot of projects. We're putting on a show, we might take it out on tour, but this multifaceted outreach that is now a staple of any major regional theater has become almost standard. I know that Dramaworks must have a half a dozen different types of projects like this going on that are reaching out. Can you talk a little bit about what the philosophy is, why it is that regional theaters no longer are simply, we're going to put on a great play, maybe a socially conscious play, but we are going to be part of the community, we're going into the community?
Yes, I agree with you, and community engagement has been this new growth in American regional theater. And I know I saw you at the TCG conference in Miami, and that was a big thing for the education directors to get together to talk about trauma-informed care. What are we doing as artists to reach the community, and what are we doing, and how are we using our art in a really safe, positive way to get the dialogue moving? And I think it's because drama has always been about storytelling. It is telling our stories. So instead of just telling a fairy tale, which is very important for young people, let's use drama as a tool to really have a meaningful dialogue about these topics and these issues. And every single regional theater has connected into that and is really using that.
It's less like school then. It's not, like young folks, they don't want to be talked at or taught to, they want to experience, and so drama's a way of helping people experience something where they're actually learning something about themselves and about others.
It also builds a young audience.
Right.
It does. Well, it does, and that's not really our goal.
Right.
But our goal is, as drama makes an impact on our lives.
Right.
That really is the goal.
And you're getting them involved. I know, you're amazing with study guides. I've worked with you on them. You have activities for them, and there's a pre-show and a post-show discussion as well. How do you work that out?
Well, again, it's the same thing. It's really, to everyone's point here, it's about critically thinking. That's really what's important. And we want to use, no matter what play we're doing at Dramaworks, we want young people to critically think about the work that they're seeing. How is this holding a mirror up to me? How is this holding a mirror up to our community? That's what's important. And in the study guide, I curate the talkbacks after all of our student matinees because I don't want to go in and just say, what questions do you have for the audience? I want to say, okay, what did you see here and why? And what from the play supported that? And we have extraordinary talkbacks because they want to be heard. Their voices are very powerful, young people. And if we would just listen to them.
We saw that. We saw that last year, unfortunately.
We did.
Yes. So my question is, do you get pushback from the schools? Because the subject matter is sometimes very heavy and difficult. Do you get refusals from the schools, any of the schools?
Well, they've never outwardly refused anything. We have not played to every school, and every school, the principal is their CEO, and so they have that responsibility. Teachers know when they come to our theater, they obviously have to sign some sort of permission slip, but I always am very upfront in the study guide and with the teachers. And our plays have strong content, strong language, but down here in South Florida, they pretty much sign off on those things. I will tell you the human trafficking play, I've already had a meeting with the school district and the chair of the school board, and they just wanted to read the play just to make sure that it's safe, because you have to be very cautious and careful about what you present to young people.
Right.
But you still want to be able to present things to young people so that they can talk about it and that they can have awareness.
And when a school wants to get in touch for the tours, how do they contact you, and what's the cost? What kind of facilities do they need? What's involved that way?
The beautiful thing from our grants is it's all free. Everything we do for young people is free at Palm Beach Dramaworks. The tour is free. We even when I bring them in for field trips, I pay for the buses to bring them in. So everything is free due to our grants that we get for education and community engagement. If teachers want to contact me, they can always contact me. I always do the outreach to the teachers and the schools. It's always me reaching out to them. And every middle school has a cafetorium at least, and so there's always some sort of space where they can perform. So they don't always have the best lighting, that's for sure, but we
they
come with
don't
our own
need a
things.
lot, you're saying, for
It's very
these tours.
simple, yeah. It's all about telling the story. It's not about, you could see in that video that we just have gray background on them just to make the space, but it all disappears because it's all about telling the story. You don't need really anything to tell a story except a good story.
Wonderful. So I know you have so much background with youth education. We adjudicate for the Dream Awards, which
Yes.
is for high schools. I know you did the Applause Awards up in Orlando and the Study Guides. Do you have a particular philosophy that you would say in regard to educating youth and engaging them for theater?
Well, it's really everything we've been talking about. It's just my philosophy is young people do have a voice if we listen to them. And that's really important, is that we, like, for example, this young lady, Greta Thunberg, who's been, she is 16 years old. She has a voice. Malala Yousafzai, these young people have voices. They have strong voices and they have strong opinions, and they're very intelligent. Young people are very intelligent. And just for us to be able to open up and to reach them in that way and allow them to speak, allow them to think critically is everything to me. It's absolutely everything.
Maybe there should be a program for the grown-ups
I think there are.
to actually, well, the one thing where you're engaging the two together,
Yes.
But there should be maybe more education for the grown-ups to listen to the kids.
Well,
and
that's a
to
perfect
allow them.
segue for me to ask you about some of the adult programs that you have at Dramaworks. You have, you can just talk about outreach and lunch and learn, talking about what you're bringing up.
Yeah, it's called DramaWise, and it's a program that we have a very well-educated audience in Palm Beach County and in South Florida, really overall. Very well-educated audience. We have a lot of retirees and seniors, and I said, why don't we take the plays that we're doing and let's actually critically think through the play with adults. And so we started, my very first show that I came down here, that I started, was Night of the Iguana. We started right away at the very beginning. And what they do is they read the play, and then we, for the first hour and a half, we analyze the play itself. We talk about the play, the characters, the themes, the playwrights, whatever is important about the play. And we have a dialogue about what they think about the play. Then we go and we have lunch, and then we come back and we meet the actors and the designers and the director. This is on the Thursday before opening, so it's just during the preview process of our plays. And we really talk about our concept of the play, DramaWorks' concept of the play itself. And so we talk about the scenery, we talk about the costumes and the lighting, we talk to the characters about their character choices and how their characters fit into the play. And it's been very popular. We've had up to 100 students in that play, so it's been very successful.
How do people participate in that? How can they get involved?
They can go to Palm Beach Dramaworks website, and there is a as part of our box office, there is a tab for DramaWise.
Now, one more thing, we have so much more we could talk about, but I want to ask you about being the president of the Florida Theater Conference in all your spare time, juggling so much. Tell us what's involved there, and for people who don't know what the Florida Theater Conference is. And
Florida Theater Conference it's an education-based conference.
Right.
It's a part of the Southeastern Theater Conference, which is a consortium of southern states. And Florida Theater Conference is many different aspects. It's theater for youth, it's middle school, it's professional, it's community theater, it's inclusion, which is our latest, which is we're bringing groups in from around the state with people with different abilities and needs, and they're performing on stage up in Gainesville. And it's a beautiful conference where young college students come in the audition to go to the Southeastern Theater Conference and then audition for professional work. But we are really focused on nurturing artists in the state of Florida. That is really our goal, and our mission is to say, let's come and learn through workshops, come and perform for competition to move on to Southeastern Theater Conference, or just to come and perform and be center stage and to really learn from one another.
so it's not just auditions, you have programs going along
Yes,
with
but
it.
high school students do audition for colleges. We have over 55 colleges from around the nation, and juniors and seniors in high school come and they audition for these college programs. And they're the first auditions of the season, so it's a way for them to be seen first.
When and where?
Yes, it's always in Gainesville, Florida, and this year it's November. It's in November. It's the second week of November but it's always in Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah. So we're coming to a close. We have so much more we can talk about, but finally, I want to ask you a little bit about what you would like to see for the future of outreach and education here in Florida.
There's a lot of beautiful education and outreach in Florida. Especially the Maltz, Jupiter, and Kravis, and other places who are really going out into the community and using drama as a tool. And I would like to see more more, actually. I should say also Broward and Arch Center, too. They have a really extensive education programs that are really beautiful. And I think that there's a lot more that we can do. You know, there are a lot more people to reach. I wish I could reach thousands more than what I'm reaching, but there are so many people to reach and so many different age groups to reach. And there's theater for youth and baby drama, which is one of the latest things too.
What is
Baby drama.
It's very.
Sum that up.
It's coming from Europe. It's coming from Scandinavia and Australia, and it's
Teach them to swim, teach them to act.
exactly. Well, it's not about acting. It's about actually telling
How you
stories for
cry.
them. Yeah. It's not about. They do it with their parents, and it's about being in stories. But it's for infants and their parents and toddlers.
Right,
It's really
and
a
getting
beautiful.
them involved right away, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and experiencing tactile things throughout the process. It's a beautiful thing.
And if someone wants to contact you and get involved with all of these programs, what's the best way they can do that?
Well, Palm Beach Dramaworks website, palmbeachdramaworks.org is where you reach me, and my contact information is on the website. So if anyone wants to contact me there, they can absolutely find it through the website.
Perfect. I can't believe you juggle all of this at the same time. It's amazing. And we look forward to seeing all of your programs, and we wish you so much luck on all the ones that you're probably figuring out while you're sitting here right now. Exactly. Thank you. And we would also like to thank the panelists today, and we are so happy that you came and talked to us as well. And mostly we would like to thank all of you for watching today. We hope you will continue to watch for many episodes. Thanks for joining us on Spotlight on the Arts. It is a community program, so please feel free to contact us and let us know what you think. You can email us at spotlightonthearts@browardschools.com. And also please check out our favorite websites, which are floridatheateronstage.com and carolcassie.com. You can also find past episodes, as I said, on YouTube. You can binge all weekend long, so just search Spotlight on the Arts and you have your weekend set. And finally, I would like to say, as Iris Acker, our wonderful creator of this program, would always say,
Go to the theater.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.